If you're not watching the Jeremy Swenson Racing channel, you're a silly goose.
Well, hello and welcome to the Jeremy Swenson Racing channel. I've recently learned that in worldwide polls, I'm not doing a good enough job with using words like massive or insane or I don't know, stuff like that. You know what I'm getting at. And with that in mind, it's the reason that I don't have a Lamborghini yet. So you may hear more inflection in my voice from here on, and me using words like massive and insane. Those are the only two I got. All right, so we're gonna start today's video with some car parts, because that's really, it's the jewelry that men love. Not all men, just cool men. Most men probably aren't cool though, so. Right, racers? Yeah. Because girls love cars. That's not true. I don't think that's true. Comment below if you're an attractive woman that's attracted to men because of their car. I don't think that's real. I think that's a fantasy for most men. Anyway, we're going to do a little bit of unboxing today, just showing you some of the parts that are going to be going into this car. Some of these parts are sponsored, some are not. I'll probably make it clear which ones aren't, because we're not trying to scratch their backs for free, you know what I'm saying? Especially once this YouTube channel takes off. Oh. Here I am promising you a cool unboxing. I don't even know how to open a box. Oh my. What is this? Now, I've been fortunate enough to have worked with Viking Performance for about 4 years now. And so this process is not new to me. They've given me, every time they come out with something new that's cool, or they want to try it on my car, of course I'm the guy to say yes. And so they send me some stuff, and I think it's been a good marriage between us. And we've had a lot of success with their products. In racing, we've won tons and tons of races. And probably don't need to get into that. So these are springs. Maybe I'll open one, because a spring is a spring. It's not that exciting. But Viking does have pretty much any spring rate you need, size, length, whatever. I think they're almost all 2.5 inch, I believe, is the size that they use. That's the inside diameter. I can't show you this rate because it's very, very custom. Just kidding, it's a 700. 700, 8-inch 700, and then I don't even remember what I got for the 650s for the front. Those are 9-inch 650s. So that's going to be my secret recipe for this car. Probably maybe a little stiffer than we need, but I do plan to run Hoosiers on the car, at least to start with, so we'll stay with the... Oh, I didn't barely even show it to you. Cool, spring, right? And one nice thing about these is, if you're into racing, you probably want to have several different spring rates on hand, which again, I'm fortunate enough to have a nice little pile of springs on hand. But if you decide you want to buy one, they're 40 bucks a piece. It's not a big deal. So it's easy to stock a bunch of them and not have to worry about it costing an arm and a leg for something that's as basic as that. Now here's the magic. Ooh. We got to yell at Ross. Ross got left a little bit of lube on the outside of that one. Let's open this next one and see if it's a little bit cleaner. Ross is the man. He's the guy at Viking that actually looks like a Viking. He's one of their shock builders, and every one of these gets built by hand and then dyno tested on their shock dynos. and before they're sent out. So pretty cool. These are going to be triple adjustable, so you've got low speed compression and rebound as well as your high speed compression. So that is a slick deal. I've forgotten what these look like because I haven't run this style for so long, because we run different control arms on the C6. But anyway, so those are sweet. In fact, I think I'm gonna open these up the rest of the way and maybe get some B-roll of how pretty these things are. And that would be probably my first time doing B-roll, because I shouldn't even say that word. I'm too old to even know that type of stuff, what B-roll is. These are take-up springs. So when you have a shock like this, fully extended, you've got your spring on here. In our case, it'll be an 8-inch spring. There's extra room. So when you go to full droop, when the shock is full drooped out, meaning like the car's off the ground and the tires are unloaded, there'll be extra space in there. So they're just tiny little springs. They're not tiny, they're longish, but there's not really any rate to them. All they're there to do is to keep the top collar, which I'm going to show you right here. It's just to keep this top collar in place. You can see that just rests in place, but if you don't have those take-up springs, that puppy can fall out a little bit, and then when you put the car down, sometimes it can get crooked in there or whatever. So I think the whole kit for both front and rear for take-up springs is only $200. So to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you're just cruising on the street all the time, basically, and you can assure that you rarely have the car off the ground, you probably don't need them. But for anybody who races and is jacking their car up frequently, you're definitely going to want those. So I've got the majority of the pieces here to put this together. So you just start by running down your, this is just your lock nut. That's really satisfying, in case you're wondering. It is smooth as silk. Then you take your top, or your bottom collar, I guess it would be, nut thing, I don't know what you call it, but you run that down. I bring them all the way down so that it's easier to get the spring on and everything, including the take-up spring. So then you extend it all the way, put your thrust washer, whatever that's called, I don't remember, I think it's something like that. They make a bearing kit too, which runs just 2 of these washers with a little needle bearing in between, just to help prevent any binding or anything. It's not really an issue on these, I don't think. But then I think he likes us to run the take-up spring first, or on the bottom side. And I think the theory there is there's a little more shock body here to prevent the this spring from binding, or from getting off center at all or anything. So then you put your mainspring on, push it down, put your locking or your top hat on. There you go. That's it. And then you'll want to run these up to your desired ride height, which ideally you'll find by corner balancing your car.
Smash those buttons!
Up next, we've got, I ordered this a while ago because this was pretty much the plan from the start. With both my ZR1 and my C5, I've just dumped the all of the stock stuff as quickly as I could. I spent a while messing around with the ZR1 stuff. That's a pretty complex car, and you really have to commit to it being a race car if you're going to do what I did, which stinks because that car, a ZR1, is a lot of fun to drive on the street. I've kind of forgotten what that's like because I bought that car with the intention of being the fastest race car I could make it, basically, and to be competitive. So that's why it's taken such a drastic turn to race car. But that's obviously the route of the C5. It already was a race car, but I don't like running stock computer stuff personally. And when Holley makes a product like this, which is not sponsored, it's easy to go that route. You just rip every single piece of wiring out of the car that you can, and which we've got everything other than, I think, yeah, everything is out. There's nothing left. I don't think there's a single wire left in the car right now. So get rid of everything and then start with just a Holley computer. This is a Terminator X Max. For $1,000 you can get a standalone engine operating system for an LS. They make other stuff too, but for $1,000, and then they give you just a little handheld screen. That's not really enough, in my opinion, if you want to actually see what you're doing and what the car is doing. So if you want to spend a little bit more, you can get their this is the same screen I have. I forget what size it is, 7-inch or whatever. So they make this screen, put that in your dash, it hooks directly up here. Then with the X-Max system, it comes with a harness, everything you need except, I believe, was it coils you have to buy separately, the coil harness or the injector harness, I don't remember. One of those two, you have to buy those separately. And then everything is plug and play except for like 3 or 4 wires. You plug, one runs your fuel pump, which is going to vary on your car. In most cases, you'll run that to a relay so you can run heavier wire. I forget what the amperage is, but, and then one's an alternator wire, I believe, and maybe one other one that isn't plug and play. So it's really simple, and it's a product like Holley, you know it's good and they'll stand behind it. I've been using the Dominator, which is the fancier version of this, in the ZR1 for 3 or 4 years now. Again, not sponsored, but it's still a good product, and you need to know what's going in the car. Hit me up, Holley. Freaking Holley. You knew what was good for you. Holley. All right. Next up. This is going to go to one of you. We're going to do another giveaway here. I haven't decided how or why or what we're going to do to give this thing away yet. So stick around for a couple more minutes and you'll know, and then you can try win it in the comments. These are awesome battery chargers from Optima. I should go get it. They also sent me this one, which you're not getting. This one's for me. But I do already have 3 or 4 of these from the last 4 SEMAs that I went to. Optima gives these out at the Optima Ultimate Streetcar Invitational. So I've got 3 or 4 of these and they're awesome. I've got one for my lawnmower, I've got one for my motorcycle. I use them here at the shop if a battery's low. It's pretty clear what these things do, but these are a little bit better than your just average charger maintainer. They can do up to engine starting on these as well. So it's not just a little trickle charger. They can actually do an engine starting mode. They're good for deep cycle or little batteries too. So good stuff. And then we'll also be running their yellow top. That's a deep cycle battery. We're gonna run that in the car as well, which you'll see in future episodes. Next, again, not sponsored. We're gonna be running a daily dry sump in the car, which I've mentioned a couple times. And daily is pretty synonymous as maybe the best dry sump system that I know of anyway. Tons of racers use them, and I can show you why once it gets here. They're really, really slick, and it's been working. That's what we have in the ZR1, and we'll do it in this car too. So, but ARE, Armstrong Race Engineering, they're out of California. They make a very simple but smart vent can. So you take what is normally just a cylinder with some baffling, like some people use like a steel wool or just chunks of metal or whatever to catch oil debris and deposits that's floating through the air, and catches those and then lets air just release out these filters. But they did a smart thing and said, you know what would be really nice is if we had a top feed. So instead of having your dash 10 or whatever fitting in the side here, they put it on top. So this, you want the highest point up here, as high as you can go, where let's say it's down here, then this has to sit that much lower, and now oil that's coming from a valve cover, for example, is likely not going up. You'd like it to go up. So that's a smart idea. I've got 3 of these in the ZR1, not sponsored. I bought 2 more of them for this car. You probably don't, most of you probably don't need 2 or 3 of them. Probably can get by with 1, but for like 2 years with the ZR1, I struggled with blowing out rear main seals, and finally we put some dash 10 ANs in the valve covers, and we run those each to a separate one of these, and then I also vent my tank, my dry sump tank, to one of them. So let's see, over here, not sponsored, MGW makes some of the better shifters that you can get. Mostly American cars. Screw you, racers, we don't like you. You can go to Japan or wherever. Just kidding, we like you. Sort of. But they make some really cool stuff. It's a shifter, but it's all really high-end, nice machined. This one came damaged, I guess. MGW, you better send me a new one. Just kidding, I don't really care. You won't be able to see it and it won't matter, but yeah, just a nice piece. Not the cheapest shifters in the world, but they're pretty good, and I'm excited to get rid of the mile of slop that was in that stock shifter. It was just some worn out parts which a person could have replaced, but I like a shorter throw personally, and with the faceplated transmission, that should be pretty slick. I gotta get some more sponsors up here, because this is also not sponsored. This is, I'm not even gonna say their names. They're, you already know who it is. You can see it, and you're gonna see what the product is, and you'll know who it is. From what I understand, great people. Great person, I guess. It's a one-man show at this company, which I support that idea. That's kind of what I'm doing here. My actual business here is selling cars. It doesn't look like it, but that is what I do here from time to time. So we ordered their hood vent kit for the C5. This is not the middle scoop because I already have a vented hood, but this is where it goes just above the tires. And they may work, they may not, but they look pretty cool, and it can't hurt to hopefully improve downforce and cooling at the same time. So look at me. They come with these templates to help you install them. So we'll probably get started on this within maybe this video. We'll see how long this is here in just a minute. We'll maybe put those in, but great product. It's track spec, you know that. It's got a nice little curve. It's designed per car. They do have some universal stuff too, but just a really nice product. Perfect powder coat finish on it. Maybe that's paint. I'm not sure, but either way, they look great. I think they function, and they're not that expensive. So back to this. Just look at me for a while I think of something. So a gentleman that helps, he works for Optima now. He is part of their marketing department, I believe. But he's heavily involved with the Optima Ultimate Streetcar series, and he is a former NBA basketball player by the name of Jim McIlvain. The first person that can tell me how many teams he played for in the NBA during his NBA career will win. You don't have to tell me all the teams, just tell me the number of teams he played for. And I don't know the answer to this question yet, so this will be interesting. But his name is Jim McIlvaine. Do not cheat. He goes by Optima Jim. Really good guy. Moved to Florida, and I'm jealous of him because he's living where I should be living. Right behind you right now, there's a pile of snow, and I'm beyond interested in snow at this point in my life. But I guess I have my freedom, sort of. Right? Do I? Yeah. We still have it good, everybody. I know things are weird right now, but there's so much to be thankful for, and Optima batteries is one of them. So this will be yours if you're the first person in the comments, the YouTube comments, to guess correctly how many NBA teams Optima Jim McIlvaine has played for. It's more than one, and it's less than all of them. I found one more product I thought you might like to see before I end off this video. This is a little guy called a Switch Pro, made by Switch Pros, and it's basically a little PDM, and it helps basically get rid of relays and fuses and save wires and put 8 switches in one little spot. So we don't have a lot of stuff we'll be running on this car, but we'll have like a main power for ignition, we'll have a start button, we'll have lights, running lights. Our brake lights we'll have on all the time, but we'll have running lights, and then we'll have probably, I got to run that silly light bar too for doing night races. And then we'll have 4 open spots. Oh, one will be for my cooling system for my cool shirt and helmet. And I think that's all I have to run really. So we'll have 3 open slots for if we need to add 12 volts to anything. I believe 4 of these are a 20 amp circuit and 4 of them are 35 amp circuits. So you can run fairly big stuff with it, and it's really slick. So it connects to its little brain system here via one cable, just a 4-wire cable. So you plug that in there and there, and then from there you run this here harness to whatever you're trying to power. Very simple, and it just sends 12 volts to that. And if it draws too much, it cuts out like a breaker kind of. So you just reset it, and obviously consider moving that so that you don't have it happen again, or so you're not drawing more than you should be. But anyway, cool product. It's 550 bucks I think is what they are, and they're so it's cheaper than a lot of the really fancy stuff. And it's a nice setup. I have it in my ZR1 and I haven't had any problems, so that's why it's going back in this one. It's a poor man's PDM. Not really poor man's PDM, because it's definitely more expensive than using relays and fuses and extra wires, but for what you're getting compared to the others on the market, it's the poor man's PDM. So nice product. Oh, forgot to show you. Oh, there's my northern tendencies. Oh, they come with all the button labels you need to. So I've got a bunch of open ones on the ZR1, and I thought it would be really funny to put, see if they have it on here. Yeah, here we go. I have in the ZR1, I have got a driver pumper and a rider pumper. So if you ever need to get pumped up, you just push that button, and if you're a rider, you just push the rider button. They don't do anything, but it should get you pumped up. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I think I'll end it off here and send out this video, and I still don't have a slogan yet for an outro, but if you come up with something funny, please share it with me in the comments. I'd like to have an outro to bid you farewell in a funny, clever way. It can't just be funny, it has to be clever. And maybe just an awkward silence like that for about 15 seconds should be my outro. Nah. You thought we were done? So did I, actually. The brown guy just showed up. The brown truck just showed up. Probably can't say brown guy, unless I'm referring to my friend Ferris. And he's okay with it, so don't come at me like that. I think he's okay with it. Guess I never asked him, I just went for it. Where were we? So, as I was saying, this is the reason you buy a daily system. Because they scavenge. You've got these cool little scavenge holes here. And then it's all, your pump mounts directly to this flange on the oil pan here. And it pulls directly through the oil pan. So there's not 8 different lines you got to run for scavenging. It's all built into the oil pan, and that is what makes it cool. Also, it looks like art. I mean, it's a shame you put these underneath your car when they're as pretty as they are. They send you an extra belt. Your belt just runs your pulley, which attaches to the pump, which must be this one. So this is their 3-stage pump. Same one I have in my 0 one. I'm not gonna take it out, but stick your pulley on it, stick that here, bolt it on the car, put your belt on, and then just run your hoses and you're done. And we'll talk more in depth about that in upcoming videos. Tank, if I remember correctly, Lewis does something with these. These are enormous. I think I run -12 stuff or -10 stuff in my other car, but Lewis apparently likes to go big, and it looks like these are -12 or 16 maybe even. I don't know. And this is a different style cap than I have on mine too. Cool. So, nothing too special, just a tank. Granted, it's pretty. And I assume I've got brackets and stuff somewhere. We'll find shortly, hopefully. I thought it was a coupler, it's not. This is a transmission mount, differential mount. So, oh, it says right on the thing, motor mounts. We'll pop them open quick to show you. These are solid motor mounts and a diff mount / motor transmission mount, kind of. So we got those. Nice pieces. I'm running out of floor space here. Well, I hope there's a balancer in that one. Oh, yeah. Another thing you have to do is run a remote filter mount when you run a daily system. They don't use the factory filter location for your oil filter, so you run a aftermarket one and you just run a line to it and from it. This one's a hamburger, I think. A big old cheeseburger. Okay, those are the drive shaft couplers. So as we've talked about in the past, you have a torque tube on a Corvette. They have little rubber couplers, or guibos people will call them. And they will fail eventually, especially if you have any kind of horsepower in them, they'll fail. And when they do, it's going to ruin your weekend, and it's going to be a fair bit of time effort to fix that. Oh yeah, I forgot we got these too. So G-Speed is known for making some really nice spherical ball joints, or not ball joints, spherical bearings that go on your control arms. And that's what these are. Woo, woo! That's some pretty stuff. It doesn't look like much on video, I'm sure, but let's open one of them at least and have a closer look. These are works of art. So again, along the same lines, in a race car you don't want a lot of deflection. You don't want movement where you're not expecting it or wanting it. So instead of having a rubber bushing or even a polyurethane bushing, you use spherical bearings like this, or bushings, whatever you want to call them. And they're a little chilly right now, but they'll give you nice free movement. These install in your factory control arms, and they are slick.
Thanks for watching the Jerry Swenson Racing Channel.
Deuces. Deuces. Try it again.
Deuces.
Get over here.
Thanks for watching the Jerry Swenson Racing Channel. Deuce.
Deuces! Not deuce. Deuces, get up here.
What? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's weird. Try again.
Thanks for watching the Jerry Swenson Racing Channel. Deuces.
Perfect.
Thanks for watching the Jerry Swenson Racing Channel. Deuces.